Module 4, Scaling Laws in Miniaturization. So let us look into the syllabus first. So syllabus, according to syllabus, you have all topics are not there in this, but we shall discuss the topics which are there for syllabus. The syllabus topics are scaling in geometry, scaling in rigid body dynamics, scaling in electrostatic forces, scaling in fluid mechanics, and scaling in heat transfer. So these are the syllabus. So let us know why the scaling laws are required. A successful industrial product requires meeting consumer expectations to be intelligent and multifunctional, among many others. Consequently, a great many sensors, actuators, and microprocessors have to be systematically integrated and packaged in many of these products. The constraints on the size and geometry of the product require substantial miniaturization of these sensors, actuators, and microprocessors. So, it is thus essential that engineers make increasing efforts in miniaturizing new industrial products for reasons of physical appearance, volume, weight, and economy. So, the objective of this module is to provide engineers with a few selected scaling laws that will make them aware of the physical consequences of downscaling machines and devices. So you can say that scaling laws thus become the very first thing that any engineer would do in the design of MEMS and microsystems. So there are two types of scaling laws. First one depends on the size of the physical objects. Second involves both the size and material properties of the system. So first topic is scaling in geometry. So here volume and surface are the two physical parameters that are frequently involved in machine design. Volume leads to the mass and weight of the device component. Volume relates to both mechanical and thermal inertia. The thermal inertia is a measure on how fast we can heat or cool a solid. Surface is related to pressure and the buoyant forces in fluid mechanics. Buoyant forces means upthrust, or you can say it is an upward force exerted by a fluid that opposes the weight of a partially or fully immersed object. It means, say for example, if you take a stone and try to hold the stone and put it inside a say for example a water, okay, take a glass of water and try to immerse that stone, then when you insert or immerse that stone, you can feel that the water tries to put that stone upward, or the force opposes the force. So I can say the upward force created by the water or the fluid, we call it as buoyancy or the upthrust. For instance, surface pumping by using piezoelectric means is a practical way for driving fluids flow in capillary conduits. Now coming to the scaling in geometry, let L represent the linear dimension. L means the length of a solid. We'll have two things. One is volume and surface. We have the direct formula for that. Volume is directly proportional to L cube and surface is directly proportional to L square. And if we take the ratio, surface by volume ratio, then you get L raised to minus 1. So the meaning here is surface S by V is equal to L raised to minus 1. It is the scaling law. So here, say take for example, if you take one object and if you reduce that object 10 times, a 10 times reduction in the length of an object would lead to 10 raised to 3 time reduction in volume. Means 1000 time the volume will be reduced and 100 time the surface area will be reduced. So in this they have given two example, an elephant and a dragonfly. they are given that the S by V ratio of elephant is 10⁻⁴, and S by V ratio of dragonfly is 10⁻⁻1. This is one just example, but what you have to remember here is V is proportional to L cube, S proportional to L square, and S by V is equal to L⁻⁻1. So this formula is the scaling law in scaling in geometry. So depending on this, they ask some problem. So this equation you need to remember.